My beloved child, listen closely, for what I reveal now is not merely a story. It is a whisper from heaven, wrapped in truth and trembling with urgency. A woman who stands nearer to your life than you realize carries a secret beneath her heartbeat. She has been hiding something that grows with every sunrise. Yes, my child. She is 3 months pregnant. 3 months of silence, 3 months of trembling nights, 3 months of carrying a truth that is becoming too heavy for her soul. But understand this is not only about her, it is about the life quietly forming inside her, a life that heaven has already acknowledged, a life whose first flutter has been heard by angels. The moment her child's heartbeat echoed faintly for the first time, heaven paused. Yet the same sound that brings joy above has become a source of terror within her. You may wonder, who is she? Whose child is she carrying? And why does this truth feel so heavy? Because, my child, her story did not begin in the warm glow of a blessed home. It began in the shadowed stillness of a night filled with choices that should not have been made. A night where emotions overpowered wisdom, where vulnerability became a doorway for regret. What was meant to stay forgotten has now become a living reminder of that moment. She hides her fear behind calm expressions. She walks through her days pretending nothing is wrong, but inside her soul storms rise and fall without rest. Every laugh she hears in the distance reminds her of what could have been. Every child she sees pierces her with emotions she cannot name. She wipes her tears before anyone notices. She whispers to herself again and again, no one can ever know. But truth, my child, truth is a living thing. It grows, it breathes, and it never stays buried forever. For when heaven writes something, no human hand can erase it. The night she confirmed the truth, she sat alone in her room, holding a small test strip between trembling fingers. Her breath came in fragments. Her mind was a storm. When that second line appeared, her entire world fell silent. Not because she felt joy, but because she felt guilt, fear, and a crushing wave of disbelief. She murmured, "Not me, not now, not this." And in that moment, the angels turned their faces away, not in judgment, but in sorrow, because she saw a punishment where heaven had placed a chance for redemption. Sometimes, my child, what is meant to save a soul is mistaken for a burden. Light arriving in the midst of darkness feels like punishment to those who are hurting. Shame clouds the heart so deeply that blessings appear as curses. But I tell you, shame does not come from God. Shame is the shadow cast by guilt, whispered by darkness, fed by fear. 3 days after discovering the truth, she went to a doctor, not with excitement, not with maternal hope, but with desperation. Her pulse raced, her hands were cold. As she sat across from that doctor, she uttered words so soft, yet so dreadful, that even the angels trembled. "I don't want to keep it." The heavens roared without sound. The spiritual realm froze. A line had been drawn between life and death. But even then your father, whispered into her heart, "Child, do not do this." The voice brushed her soul like a gentle wind. She tried to push it away, pretending she imagined it. But it was not imagination. It was me, calling her away from the edge. It was Archangel Michael standing beside her, shielding the tiny heartbeat within her with his sword of light. But her fear was louder than her faith. She left the clinic with empty eyes and a trembling spirit. But listen carefully. The reason she is afraid is deeper than what people think. It isn't poverty, it isn't pain, it isn't even the fear of responsibility, it is the fear of truth. Because what she carries exposes a moment that should have remained in the dark. A moment tied to betrayal, hidden desires and consequences no one expected. But hear me, my child, even from the darkest soil, I can bloom the brightest flowers. Even from mistakes, I can write redemption. The enemy whispers that her child is a curse. But in heaven's eyes, this child is her turning point, her path to find light again. And you, my child, you stand closer to her story than you realize. Your role in what comes next is no accident. You were placed nearby for a divine purpose, though you cannot yet see it. For now, know this. The secret she carries is beginning to crack open. Heaven has begun to move. Her tears have reached the throne. And this journey, her journey, your journey, is only beginning. My beloved child, listen closely now, for what unfolds in this part is not only her battle, it is the moment where heaven and darkness collide around a fragile soul searching for escape. The weight she carries has begun to bend her spirit, and though she tries to remain composed, the cracks are starting to show. People do not see her tears, but heaven counts every one. The days that followed were filled with a silence so heavy that even her breath felt like a confession. She thought she could hide her trembling hands. She thought she could disguise her guilt beneath forced smiles. But secrets, my child, carry a scent, and the human heart, especially those close to us, can sense when something is wrong. Her joy faded. Her laughter became hollow. Her steps lost their rhythm. She avoided eye contact, especially with the one person whose life would shatter if the truth ever surfaced, her own sister, because the man responsible for the life within her was the sister's husband. Every day she tried to pretend. Every day she rehearsed lies in her mind. I'm fine. I'm just tired. Nothing is wrong. But lies are heavy, and guilt is a shadow that clings no matter how brightly one tries to smile. When she looked in the mirror, she no longer saw her reflection. She saw consequences. She saw betrayal. She saw a woman she never meant to become. Her soul felt torn between regret for what happened and fear of what would happen when the truth came out. Yet in her womb, life continued to grow. Heaven had decided that the heartbeat would not be silenced. The angels watched her, not with judgment, but with longing, hoping she would turn toward the light before drowning in her own shame. One night, her knees finally gave way. She collapsed beside her bed, pressing her forehead into her hands as sobs escaped her. The moonlight barely touched the room, but heaven illuminated the space with unseen compassion. She whispered through trembling lips, "God, I don't deserve forgiveness. I destroyed trust. I destroyed love. I destroyed myself." And heaven listened. The air shifted. A tender presence filled the room. Though she could not see him, Archangel Michael stood beside her, wings folded gently, his voice a river of strength and mercy. "Daughter, you have fallen, yes, but you have not fallen beyond grace." She shook her head violently. "No, I can't be forgiven. I can't. They will hate me. My sister will curse me. No one will ever see me the same." Michael spoke again, his tone deep but comforting. "It is not their forgiveness that sets you free. It is God's. Tell the truth. Let the light do what darkness has tried to stop. For every secret eventually speaks." She covered her face, sobbing. "I don't have the strength." "But you do," the angel whispered, placing an unseen hand upon her back. "Because heaven is holding you up." But the next morning she woke with a calm that felt strange, almost foreign. She stared at the sunlight filtering through her curtains and whispered a word she had not spoken in months. "But thank you." But that simple expression, gratitude, opened a hollow door in her soul. Heaven rejoiced over a whisper the world would ignore. Because, my child, any time a lost soul says thank you instead of why me, the chains begin to break. But peace does not erase consequences. But later that day, her sister visited. The house was quiet, filled with the warm smell of tea. Yet beneath the surface, spiritual tension pulsed like thunder, waiting to break. Her sister noticed her pale face and trembling hands. "You haven't been yourself," she said softly. "Tell me, are you okay?" The pregnant woman's heart throbbed painfully, her throat tightened. For a moment, she wanted to lie again. She wanted to hide. But Michael's whisper moved through her spirit. "Tell the truth." She placed the cup down. Her fingers shook. Tears gathered as she whispered, "I need to tell you something." The room froze. Her sister leaned in, concern sharpening into fear. "What is it?" A moment of silence stretched across eternity. Then the truth broke free. "I'm pregnant." Her sister blinked, stunned. At first, compassion flickered in her eyes. But then came the words that shattered the world. "It's your husband's child." The teacup slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor like the trust between them. Her sister's face drained of color. A storm broke inside the home. Disbelief, rage, betrayal, heartbreak. The woman fell to her knees, sobbing. I know. I was weak. I was lost. I am sorry." My child, heaven and hell both watched that moment. Angels wept for the broken hearts. Demons rejoiced over the pain. Because sin never wounds only one person, it wounds every heart connected to it. Her sister ran from the house screaming. The woman was left alone. Whispers began. Neighbors talked. Rumors spread like wildfire. People who once hugged her now stepped aside when she passed. She became a symbol of shame, but heaven was not finished with her story. Her loneliness became a classroom. Her tears became her prayers. Her pain became the soil where transformation would grow. Each night she gazed at the stars and whispered, "If you're still there, don't leave me." And a voice responded inside her spirit, "I never left. You left yourself, but I am still here." From that night her steps changed. She began walking toward the temple again. She stopped hiding her face. Slowly, heaven began to rebuild her from the inside out. My child, this is where her journey of redemption begins. This is where your role begins too. My child, after her secret exploded into the world, heaven did not turn away. It began to move. What looked like the collapse of her life was actually the beginning of a divine rebuilding. And now, watch closely, because the light is about to touch what everyone else abandoned. My beloved child, what followed that painful confession was not silence. It was the beginning of a spiritual storm. After the truth tore through their home, after her sister ran with a wounded heart, after the teacup shattered like a symbol of trust collapsed, the entire atmosphere around her shifted. The next days were heavy with loneliness. Her sister left town, unable to bear the pain. The woman remained behind, surrounded by whispers that stung deeper than any words she had ever heard. People pointed, people murmured, people judged without knowing the battle she fought inside her soul. She became a symbol, not of life, but of shame. Wherever she walked, the air felt thick with unspoken accusations. Some avoided her, others watched her with cold eyes. Even those who once called her friend kept their distance. She had become an outcast in her own home, in her own community, in her own skin. But heaven never abandoned her. Even in her lowest moments, angels stood guard around her trembling spirit. Archangel Michael walked with her, unseen yet present, strengthening her each time she felt she could not rise from her bed. One morning she stood before the mirror again, but this time, instead of seeing guilt alone, she saw exhaustion. She saw a soul drained but not destroyed. She saw a woman who needed mercy, not condemnation. And something inside her whispered, "Get up, do not hide." So she got dressed and left her home with her head low, but her heart trying to rise. She walked to the temple, the very place she feared people would mock her. She entered quietly, lit a small candle, and sat in a corner where the light from the open window touched her face. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she whispered, "God, I don't ask for people to forgive me. Just help me forgive myself." Her voice cracked, her breath shook. But heaven heard her clearly. As she sat there, a fragile presence filled the temple, the gentle warmth of divine mercy. And then something unexpected happened. At the temple gate, an elderly woman sat, frail and unnoticed. She looked poor, forgotten by the world. The pregnant woman felt a pull toward her. Without thinking, she walked over, reached for the small packet of food she had brought for herself, and handed it to the old woman. The old woman lifted her face. Her eyes shone not with age, but with deep, ancient knowing, like she could see beyond flesh, beyond sin, beyond sorrow. She smiled slowly and whispered, "The moment you gave, heaven gave back to you. Do not fear, your child is chosen." And then she vanished. Yes, my child, vanished. For she was not an ordinary woman. She was an angel in disguise, sent only for that message. That single encounter changed everything inside her. Her fear loosened, her shame softened. When doubt whispered, she remembered those words, "Your child is chosen." From that day forward, she stopped running from her truth. She began walking with more courage. She stopped hiding her face. She faced the world one small step at a time. Months passed, her belly grew, her soul grew too. People still spoke behind her back, but their words no longer shattered her, because she had learned something vital. Something you too must learn, my child. No human judgment can rewrite what God has already written, and heaven had written destiny inside her womb. Then came the night of her labor. Storm winds roared outside, lightning flashed across the sky, yet inside her home there was a sacred stillness. She clutched her stomach, her breath heavy, her strength fading. She cried out, "God, please be with me." And he was. The room filled with a warmth beyond earthly explanation. She felt a presence, not frightening but powerful and peaceful. Each contraction became a prayer. Each push felt like her soul releasing pain, guilt, and old shadows. And then a cry filled the air. Bar a newborn's cry. A cry heaven had waited months to hear. A cry that broke open the chains around her spirit. Bar. She held the baby, trembling, exhausted, overwhelmed, and the moment his tiny body lay in her arms, something indescribable happened inside her. Bar, she felt forgiveness. Not given by people, not earned through perfection, but gifted by heaven. She whispered to her son, "But you saved me, but you saved my soul." But her tears fell on his forehead like a baptism of redemption. My child, remember this, Bar, when God forgives, he does not erase the past, he transforms it. He does not discard the wounded, he heals them. He does not shame the fallen, he raises them. The woman who once hid in darkness now stood in the very place she feared, holding a child heaven had chosen. But this story is not over, not even close. What comes next will change not only her destiny, but the destiny of the child who carries heaven's mark. My child, you have seen her fall, you have seen her break, you have seen heaven rebuild her. But now you will witness what heaven had planned all along. The rise of the child born from a night of weakness, yet chosen for a destiny no one on earth could ever imagine. My beloved child, years passed like chapters turning in a book heaven itself had written. The child she carried, the one she once feared, the one the world mocked, grew beneath the protection of divine light. Every step he took was guided. Every breath he drew was watched over. He was no ordinary child. Heaven had placed purpose in him before he took his first breath. From the moment he spoke his first word, something strange happened. The air would still, as if creation itself paused to listen. When he laughed, the wilting plants outside their home began to bloom again, as though nature recognized the purity within him. And when he prayed, "Oh, my child," heaven bent closer. He grew up unaware of the storm that surrounded his birth. His mother never poured her sorrow into him. She told him only this, "You are my miracle. You came to teach me how to live again." The world, however, was not as kind as his mother. Some called him the child of shame. Some pointed at him in the streets. Some whispered cruel things within earshot. But the boy never responded with anger. His heart was born soft. His spirit was molded by grace. When insulted, he simply looked at them with calm eyes and said, "One day you will understand." No one understood those words, but heaven did. Because this child, conceived in a moment of weakness, was carrying within him the seed of redemption. When he turned 7, something happened that shook the entire village. It was early morning. He was playing by the river, watching the sunlight dance on the surface. Suddenly, the water began to ripple in the opposite direction of the current. The birds in the trees went silent. The warm glow around him intensified like a golden aura spilling from heaven. Then he heard a voice, not around him but within him, Elia, a name heaven had chosen for him. He froze. "Who's there?" he whispered, his small hands trembling. And from the golden light a presence stepped forward, majestic, powerful, gentle. Archangel Michael. His armor shone like flames, his wings curved like dawn stretching across the sky. His gaze held the strength of mountains and the softness of mercy. "Elia," he said, "you were sent here not as punishment but as purpose." The boy swallowed hard, fear and awe blending inside him. I don't understand." Michael knelt to his level, his wings folding gracefully behind him. "You will understand one day. But hear this, you carry light, a light the world desperately needs. You were born to heal what was broken, to lift those who have fallen, to show that grace is stronger than shame." The boy's eyes filled with tears. "But my mother cries because of me." Michael shook his head gently. "No, child. She cries because her soul remembers heaven. She cries because she is being remade. And you are the answer to her prayer for a new beginning." Then, with a touch on the boy's forehead, the archangel whispered, "When you speak, let your words heal. When you walk, let your steps guide. And when you fall, rise again, for heaven has marked you." Then the light faded, and the river returned to its normal flow, but the boy's heart never returned to what it was before. He ran home, breathless. "Mama, Mama, I saw an angel." She froze. "An angel?" He nodded. "He told me my name, Elia, and that I was sent to heal." Her knees gave out as she whispered, "God, you turned my shame into destiny." From that day on, she refused to hide. She went to the temple, stood before the people who once judged her, and said, "I was broken, I was lost. But God used my failure to bring light into the world." Her humility softened hearts. People who once whispered now approached her with their own secrets. They sought comfort, they sought forgiveness, they sought hope, and she gave them what she had received, grace. Elia grew into a young man with a spirit wise beyond his years. He could sense when someone carried grief behind their smile. He could feel when a person was close to giving up, and when he prayed for them, heaven responded quietly and beautifully. A blind man once touched his hand and began to see shadows and shapes for the first time in years. A widow who cried every night dreamt of her husband smiling in heaven after Elia whispered a prayer for her. A troubled child found peace simply sitting beside him. But Elia never claimed the power was his. "It is the light within me," he always said. "It is the grace that raised me." My child, this is how heaven works. It turns the rejected into leaders, the wounded into healers, the fallen into examples of divine power. When Elia was grown, he often sat under an old olive tree. One evening his mother joined him. Her hair had silvered, but her eyes were calm. "My son," she said softly, "do you ever wonder why your life began in pain?" Elia smiled gently. "Yes, Mama, but now I know. Light needs darkness to be seen." Tears ran down her cheeks. "You became everything I prayed you'd be." That night, Archangel Michael returned, not in flames but in soft, radiant light. "The cycle is complete," he said. "Grace has fulfilled its promise." He turned to Elia. "You are the guardian of compassion. The world may forget your name, but heaven never will." Then he vanished, leaving behind a golden feather in Elia's hands, a sign heaven would never leave him. Years later, Elia wrote his life story, not about miracles, but about mercy. He wrote, "I was born from mistake, but raised by grace. People rejected me, but God chose me. And if you think you are too broken, remember, God begins where your shame ends." His story traveled through generations. It reached nations, and one day it landed in the hands of a young woman drowning in guilt. When she read his words, she whispered, "Maybe I can be forgiven too." And her life changed. "Do you see now, my child? One woman's sin became another's healing. One child's pain became another's hope. One family's brokenness became a legacy of light. This is the mystery of God, to bring redemption out of what the world calls ruin. And now, my child, heaven looks at your life the same way. Your mistakes do not define you. Your past does not decide you. Your shame does not own you. If you feel this message, close your eyes and whisper, God, forgive me and guide me. Heaven is listening. Archangel Michael is near, and your new beginning starts now. Amen.